Hello, I'm Dave Abram.
And I'm Kristin Lagana. Welcome to Arundel County Week in Review. In this episode, we'll meet the new Chief Administrative Officer and take a look at an open house coming to Northeast High School. But first, making headlines this week. We have a lot to report about a busy week for the county's police department, but let's start with the shiny new rides. At an event Tuesday, the department showed off its new Ford Interceptor Explorers. In all, police have purchased 160 SUVs and cruisers. Some of the features of the vehicles include special suspension packages for better handling in high-speed chases, super bright LED emergency lights, and of course, lots of horsepower. Here's what Fleet Director Robert Phillips had to say about our new vehicles.
One thing about both the car and the SUV, the utility, they're both rated at 305 horsepower, V6, 270 foot-pounds of torque. Their acceleration exceeds the Caprice we have now. The braking is tremendous. It was one of the highest rated vehicles on the braking course at the Michigan test grounds. The all-wheel drive is something that's really going to be advantageous to us. We had the huge snow of '09 and we were out there trying to put officers in anything we could find that was four-wheel drive. I had officers riding around in landfill trucks, recycle trucks, anything I could find that was four-wheel drive. This is going to give us a capability in inclement weather that we've never had before.
County Executive Steve Shue is calling this budget year the year of law enforcement because of huge investments in that area, including 20 new positions, the new vehicles, and plans to build a new training academy and central booking facility. And that's not all, Dave. We also met 22 new command staff who were promoted. Chief Tim Altamari announced the promotions and appointments at the Chesapeake Center for Performing Arts, including 2 new deputy chiefs. Major Bill Cramp will take second in command, and Altamari also coaxed Gerard Rod Flemings out of retirement. We talked to Councilman Pete Smith about the new faces leading the police department.
For me, we have a good group of folks who will be leading this department, and I will certainly be there to help them from a budgetary standpoint so that they have the resources so that they can be successful.
Congratulations to everyone who was promoted, and of course, we thank you for your service.
Lots of police news.
Those vehicles, they look awesome.
They are, and I got to go out with the county executive, got to take them for a test drive as
really?
well. Yes, and the state's attorney.
It's good to be county exec.
They really enjoyed it. I hear that they both may have a little bit of a lead foot, but they had officers with them, folks, so it was totally legit. It was totally legal.
Of course. I'd love to take a ride in one, not in the back seat, of course. I mean, I didn't do anything bad.
Have we ever locked you up before in one of the holding
facilities? Gosh, no.
We should take you on a tour.
Is this the Week in Review field segment in the works?
Uh-huh.
Oh, right.
We're going to take you on a tour of the detention center.
Okay.
And if I happen to forget to flip the switch back on to let you out, I'm sorry in advance for that.
Am I allowed to perform from the hit musical Chicago, Cell Block Tango?
No, but you could do Folsom Prison, live from Folsom Prison.
Why can I do that,
live
but not
from
Chicago?
Jennifer Road Detention Center. That sounds great.
He had it coming.
Yeah,
he had it coming.
Oh yeah, acoustic a cappella, yeah.
Sure. No, everybody will leave. It'll just be me singing, no camera.
Well, we'll look for that one to come out on CD, folks, or on iTunes. Let's turn from horsepower to pedal power, Kristin.
All right.
This week, County Executive Shue introduced members of a new Bicycle Advisory Commission. The commission's primary goals will be to make recommendations to build out a safe, interconnected network of trails, on-road, and separated bike lanes, and advise the county on increasing safe bicycling for residents, commuters, and visitors for transportation and recreation. Got all that?
Got it.
This year's budget starts a long-term plan to make the county more accessible to bikes, including a new bridge over Ritchie Highway in Arnold connecting the B&A Trail. John Corrin, the chairman of the Advisory Commission, said they will be advocates for safety and convenience.
And so the reason we're gathered here today is to take a really important step for Anne Arundel County in beginning to build out a safe, interconnected, signed network of bike routes that include both trail, on-road, and separated bike networks.
If you would like to reach the Bicycle Commission, call 410-222-1821.
Well, this is great. Always a bigger advocate for people getting out there and doing a little more physical, a little less...
Yeah, and we've already seen people are pretty excited about this bridge. I mean, it sounds like, man, what a big deal, bridge, but The bridge will take you over Ritchie Highway in Arnold, and basically it connects so you can take the trail all the way out to Sandy Point.
Oh, that's great.
So basically the long-term vision here is to be able to connect all these spots that aren't quite connected well enough. Have you ever tried to ride one of the trails?
I haven't.
I mean, you know, we have very good trails, but there are points where you get to, like, say you're coming over the Naval Academy Bridge, and you got a dedicated lane. All of a sudden, when you get to the bottom of the bridge, that lane is gone, and all of a sudden you're right in there with traffic, and it can get a little dicey. So these are sort of what the county executive is trying to address here, is to have connections and seamless connections for the trails. So it makes it easier for people, and if it's easier to do and safer, then more people are going to do it. You know, as a recycling guru, you know this cuts down on emissions, and
Yes.
it's healthy, and
We'll make sure to have recycle containers out there on the trails.
yeah, make sure you start plotting those out on
Yes.
the map where that bridge is going to go, so you're ready.
I don't bike. I have a stationary bike, but I actually do like running. So I'm guessing that these will also
So
be
you
open.
pedal like crazy and you get nowhere.
I get nowhere, but I'm watching a movie while I do it.
That's cool.
Have you ever seen those classes? They usually have them at Gold's Gym, where they'll put a high, intense cardio class with a big action-packed movie, like a Schwarzenegger film or a Stallone film.
Is that like spin class?
It's like a spin class, but it's not necessarily as crazy as spin. It's the other kind of bicycles, the regular stationary bikes, and not the ones. Spin bikes have a higher seat and they're a little smaller.
Wait, movies are long.
They are long.
I'm supposed to spin on this bike for 2 hours?
So, well, no. You can get on and off, but it's nice to have.
What if it's The Godfather?
Oh.
I'll never
well,
be done.
You're gonna get super skinny.
That's like a
super quick.
3.5 hour movie.
No, but it's you can of course hop on and off, but it's nice to have that kind of motivation when you see them up there and the fire and the fight scenes, and so it's pretty cool.
Well, the turnout was great, and I think there's a lot of enthusiasm in the community of the diehard people who ride their bicycles to work every day. Another
Great
good
one.
movie.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing this happen.
We had a high participation rate with Bike to Work Day this past year.
Right.
So that'll be great.
Right.
Very good. Well, Dave, when I mentioned there was a lot of news out there in the police department, I wasn't kidding. There's even more.
There's more?
There's more.
Wow.
This one is rather bittersweet. Lieutenant TJ Smith, we've had him on the show before,
Absolutely.
has accepted a position with the Baltimore City Police Department to be its new spokesman. Smith has been the face of our police department for several years now, and Baltimore Police Commissioner Kevin Davis, former chief of Anne Arundel's department, asked Smith to join him in trying to improve community relations between police and city residents. We, of course, want to wish TJ all the best and thank him for his great work and service here. He's just going to be up the road a little bit, so we'll be able to follow his progress. And knowing him, he's just a tweet away if anybody wants to reach him. He was the king of social media for our county police department.
He is.
Yes.
He is.
And he's going to do great things for Baltimore. They really could use someone like him. So
Yeah.
sad to see him go, but happy he'll be used and up to his greatest potential.
Yeah, I think you know, I've met a lot of people who do similar things to what I do in marketing and communications, and TJ's definitely a class act and knows what he's doing. And I think the thing that he's got that really comes through is just that he's genuine, and
Yes.
that's going to go a long way in the Baltimore City Police Department. I think they need that connection so that people can relate to the police department, and he's going to help do that.
Yes, and he's so genuine and he's so personable that he'll be someone easy for Baltimore residents to speak with.
And we want him back.
We want him back.
Come
we
back.
have to give him back.
Please. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we will talk to Mark Hartzell, the new Chief Administrative Officer of Anne Arundel County. Take a look at our community calendar for events around town, and don't go away. We will be right back.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
If you store your guns properly,
so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories or scary news reports.
I won't have to hold someone's hand and shout you're gonna make it.
And I won't have to tell my kids, this isn't a drill.
Please.
Please.
Please. Please.
Please.
Do it for us.
For us. Do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. If you own a firearm and are not using it, please be responsible and be sure that it's stored in a safe place. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org.
Welcome back. Joining us on the program this week, we are honored to be having Mark Hartzell in the studio. He is our newly appointed County Administrative Officer. Mr. Hartzell, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's great to have you. And of course, our viewers out here want to know a little bit more about you, where you're from,
Sure.
what your old position was.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm originally from Anne Arundel County. I grew up in Annapolis back in the 60s when, you know, it's interesting to see how much not only the city but the county has grown over that time. But grew up in Annapolis back in the 60s. Father changed services from the Navy to the Army, moved out to Crofton because he had gotten stationed in Washington, D.C., so he wanted to have his commute go a little bit shorter. And then from the early 70s all the way, my mother's still a resident of Crofton today, and my brother's a resident of Pasadena who's on the Anne Arundel County Police Force here. And
got a promotion recently?
Just got a promotion recently. I'm extremely proud of him, so it's
Definitely
that's great to happen.
for today, yeah.
And but most recently came here from Westfield, New Jersey,
Okay.
where I had spent the last 30 years in the financial services business, predominantly with mostly large banks, J.P. Morgan being one, Citibank being another, U.S. Bancorp. Running groups within, you know, the trust departments there, and then most recently at ComputerShare, where I was part of the executive management team overseeing the operations for the whole U.S. enterprise. So, but it's good to be back.
It's
Nice
good
to have you back, yeah.
And so, just to fill people in on where we are, the county executive appointed you effective August 1st.
Yep.
Tell our viewers exactly what the chief administrative officer does.
Sure. So. That's an open-ended question, and so we can define it, I guess, any way that we want to now. But I look at my primary objective is to basically oversee all the departments in Anne Arundel County. And so specifically what that means is to not only provide oversight, but provide guidance, provide direction in terms of, one, how we want to make those departments become more efficient. Okay, and the easiest way to do that, and it can start at the top. It starts really at the county executive level and transcends down into the organization. And what we do is we're trying to create a culture. We're trying to create a culture, and I don't want to compare it to, you know, creating a culture within a company or within a business, but really that's what we're trying to do. I mean, that's what the county executive is trying to do. My job is to facilitate that direction that the county executive has given, and really it's looking at. As we create a culture, it's looking at giving the departments, okay, the autonomy to operate within the county guidelines, and me overseeing those things to make sure that they happen.
And of course, you just went through a couple of those duties. In that, do you have specific goals that you want to get done for the county, and,
Sure.
and how will your position help to facilitate
Sure.
that?
Again, if you go back to, you know, what I had said before in terms of the role of providing oversight, guidance, and direction, one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure that not only are we becoming more efficient, but we're becoming more efficient internally. So how we're dealing with each other within the organization, but then, and more importantly, but externally, how are the people of Anne Arundel County feeling about the services that get provided to the county? One of the ways that we can do that, okay, is to, if you take a look at the core groups that Anne Arundel County has, for example, land use, health care, public safety, one of the things that, that I'm going to be looking very closely at is making sure that we're leveraging not only the intellectual capital, the talent pool, but the resources that each of those core groups have to make sure that all of them are sharing information as well as sharing services and goods and so forth to make sure that they're as efficient as they possibly can. Because what happens is a lot of times they'll be looked at in silos. So the police department will just do what the police department does. Fire will do just what fire does, and detention and so forth. What we want to make sure is that because there's things that go on among each of those departments, we want to make sure that they're leveraging the best practices, and we're making sure they're communicating those best practices to one another.
And you can already see the beginnings of that occurring, just the fact that these core groups were established.
Correct.
I've had the opportunity to be in some of these meetings, and it's incredible how just folks being face to face for a period of time on a regular basis, these things just happen organically because everybody knows each other, everybody looks each other in the eye and talks about what they're doing that day, and it just sparks something that, I'm doing something similar. So it's been really interesting to see, and I don't think that's ever occurred in county government, so it's interesting to see that. Tell us a little bit about, you come from the private sector and you have a position that's very, very busy. What have been some of your impressions of your first 2 weeks, I guess, on the job?
Well, it's actually been 8 days, but it
feels like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's interesting because, when you've been doing something for so long, very similar for so long, 30 years, to be able now to be in a position where the diversity of what you do on a day-to-day basis is amazing. And what I mean by that is you just look at today. For example, I get up in the morning, 7:30, I'm having a meeting with E&Y to talk about the procurement process that we've got going on. From there, I go to the detention center, meet with the director, Terry Kukulis, and talk about the things that are going on in the detention center, specifically around the mental health issues that they're having. You got core group meetings, and so we're dealing with land use problems in terms of what are we going to do with Crownsville and so forth. But so the diversity of issues that are going on and making sure that you're fully informed, so you can be able to respond not only expeditiously, but being informed about the issues that are going on and that are affecting the county. That's what I found to be not only the greatest challenge, but continued to hold the greatest level of interest in terms of being able to deal with a whole set of different diverse issues. And so I'm looking forward to not only continue to do that, but doing that in the future. So.
And I imagine it will help to ease the process when you're talking about wider communication for these departments to start talking together more.
Absolutely.
So that when you're going back to back to all these different meetings and functions, you're kind of combining efforts.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll go back to what Dave said. It's interesting. Something so simplistic about just getting people together, okay? So you bring the core groups together. And again, I don't know, I wasn't here, but my guess is you're probably right. They never sat in a room together, okay? And so therefore, just bringing them together and sharing ideas about one and sharing things that are going on within each of their departments, it's amazing because that just naturally fosters communications. Well, wait a minute. You've got a transportation issue going, so how are we now working together to solve our transportation issue? And just bringing people together, it's amazing how much more productive you can be. So.
Yeah, well, higher efficiency, more talent, and better use of time, and of course, better communication.
Absolutely.
Solid plan.
Yeah.
So. Well, thank you. Welcome back to the county.
Welcome
thank
aboard.
you for joining us on the show this week. And,
my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes, welcome back anytime.
Great.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Week in Review right after this.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. Earlier this summer, we showed you the brand new shiny Northeast High School. Well, this week, the school is holding its own special open house. Our own Sara Gannon has more. Sarah?
Thanks, guys. Today I'm here at Northeast High School in Pasadena, and we are here to talk about the Human Performance Signature Program at Northeast High School. Today I'm here with Carol Boyer, Dr. Hall, and Rachel Cochran. Thank you. Carol, can you tell me a little bit about the program?
Sure, absolutely. Well, our Human Performance Signature Program was chosen when the community and the school got together, and it's to connect the classroom to real-world solutions and then the 21st century workplace.
Now, how long ago was it formed?
It started about 2011. They started to do the research, and then it was launched officially in May of 2012.
Now, I do have to ask this. Is every student involved, or is this a select group?
Yeah, no, not every student is involved. It's who wants to be involved. So there's available spaces, and whoever shows interest can be involved with the program.
Fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit about do you have any events coming up anytime soon?
We do. We have our grand opening and interactive human performance fair on August 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the school.
And is that open to the public?
It is open. It's free, open to the public, the business community. Anyone from anywhere can come and join us that evening.
How do you become a vendor of the event?
So what you will need to do if you're interested in being involved is we're asking that our community businesses do something interactive at their table rather than just a fair where people come and get information. Make it something interactive to showcase what you do or what the business does. So what they would do is they would contact our human performance facilitator, Jacqueline Dunn, at the school. And they could email or they can call me. I'll give you my phone number as well.
Okay, great. And Dr. Hall and Rachel are both vendors, am I correct?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about what your booth or table will be like?
Mine is really an interactive experience. So I'm so fortunate. Right above us here, we have a full-on television studio that's part of the new school. So these are the luckiest kids in the world. Think about going to high school and you have a brand new television studio to work in. So people can learn all about that, what possibilities the kids have, and we're looking at maybe having them do a little bit of acting on television.
Oh, wow.
Since I've taught that before, and helping students explore their own creativity. So that's what we're looking at.
Very good. And can you tell me about what your table or booth will be doing?
I work at Baltimore Washington Counseling Center. It's a therapeutic practice, and we'll have an interactive table as well, showing the community some of the services we offer: family support, support for parents, support for teens, group therapy, individual therapy. We're excited to partner with the Signature Program. We're excited to interact with the community and show them some of the resources that we can offer them.
Very good. And now, how can you find, is there a website, is there a Facebook page? How can you find the information out?
Sure, absolutely. So you can go to the Anne Arundel County website, and that's aacps.org.
Okay.
Or you can go to Facebook, and it's the NHS Eagle. And you'll see all the information there. And if someone's interested in coming, they can call me as well. On my personal cell is 443-591-2070.
Very good. And I have to apologize to the Chesapeake alumni today. As I am an alumni of Chesapeake High School, I am wearing Northeast colors. So with that said, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Sarah. Come on out to Northeast High School on August 20th. Looks like there will be something there for everybody. Have you seen any of the new school yet? Have you been around the outside? I
got to go to the soft opening, let's call it.
The soft opening, okay.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, it's beautiful.
Have a smart board in every classroom?
I didn't see the classrooms, but I would venture a guess that they have things like that. But just the architecture of it, the football field is amazing. The main entryway is amazing. It's all shiny and glass, and it's 2-story, and it's a beautiful school. So the students that go there are very lucky to have that. And
A lot of big things, a lot of big
If you haven't been there, then you should come to the open house.
I'm sure that my recycling travels will bring me to Northeast High School eventually here. So, but a lot of high school talks this year, a lot of big things happening.
You could say that the news that Northeast High School is open for business shook the earth.
Oh, I see what you're saying here.
See what I did there?
I see what you're, groundbreaking even.
Did you feel the earthquake?
Groundbreaking? I did not. I wasn't.
You weren't in the epicenter. You weren't in
I wasn't in the epicenter.
What do they call that? Yeah. It was like a 2.
It's not the eye.
It was like a 2 on the Richter scale, but we did have an earthquake on Saturday night.
Right. They're saying Crownsville.
Yeah, but I was at my house in Pasadena, and I didn't feel anything, but the power went out for about 30 seconds.
My mother's in Davidsonville.
Yes.
And she knew something was up, and we have a crack in our chimney at my mom's house now from this earthquake. So it definitely did
Are you going to get a new chimney?
No. Her father laid that brick. There's no way.
I was trying to think of a way that chimney and Lagana, I could do a rhyme with, we do everything Lagana.
Yeah.
Like
Lagana Cabana.
Cabana.
Yeah.
I can't. I got
Lagana Banana. No, nothing with a chimney. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, other than the earthquake, you said that you had experienced something unusual when you were driving down 50 this weekend?
So the next day was Sunday. We were heading down to my mom's house. And the overhead electronic signs that give you warning about traffic or telling you to put on your seatbelt, which of course you should always do. They said, always.
Especially when you're in a police interceptor and you're going like.
A new Ford 2016.
2015, but these things are sweet.
They look like it.
They are, anyway.
But for the first time, I had never seen this message before, and I'm sure it sounds like from reports that we got from Chuck in the booth, this message has probably flashed before, saying Sandy Point State Park was closed and it reached capacity. And I thought that was really cool because I think it used to be the norm that if you wanted to go to the beach, you wanted to be outside, you're driving all the way to Ocean City, and we've got a lot of people that are taking advantage of our close nearby state park now. Yep. So Chuck had informed us right before we came back to the show that this is something that's happened several weekends now where they've reached capacity 4,000 or 5,000 people. So that's fantastic.
It is. And the beach is one thing, but we talked about trails. The other thing is boat access.
Boats.
So it could be that more people are getting out on their boats. I mean, certainly I think we can say that the weather has kind of gotten better.
Oh, yeah.
Recently. I mean, we've had
aside
some
from
better,
your occasional earthquake.
Yeah, and torrential downpours.
We're going to start having earthquake drills in school here? I don't know.
Don't forget, nobody felt the earthquake. Well, except your chimney.
My chimney felt
Your chimney got the business end of that earthquake.
It's crazy. I'm sure if that happened there's some other folks out there that had stories, which of course we'd love to hear about on our Facebook page at Arundel TV.
Absolutely.
How
hit us up.
Might have been
hit
affected.
us up. Tell us what's going on. But Sandy Point's great, and they have.
It's a beautiful park.
Yeah, and a lot of the amenities they have there, we're going to have in North County soon. We have work going on at Fort Smallwood Park, and to me, it's just so exciting to be able to have that sort of water access close to where I live in North County. It's going to be great to have that. So.
My annual fall family reunion has just been scheduled for Downs Park.
What?
Beautiful
The
parks
Laganas
here.
are taking over Downs Park?
I'm telling you.
Hide your children.
Yeah.
Stay away from Downs. What's the date of this? Shh. Oh, we're not going to say the date.
No.
Okay. I'll try to let everyone know in advance that don't go to Downs.
We'll put up a sign that says at capacity turn around.
Can you barbecue pasta and lasagna?
Actually, this is my mother's side of the family, which is Filipino. So it's going to be a lot of amazing rice and noodle dishes.
Filipino?
Yeah.
Huh. I never would have guessed.
She's part Filipino.
Well, there you go, folks. You learn something new every single week on this show. And that wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode and archived episodes online anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or Google Plus by searching Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week for more highlights and news from around the county, and we'll see you next time.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.